Hey there. So I just wanted to share something that I came across and a small tool that I made. I was working on pulling procedure reports for my students. And so I'm going to walk through that just real quick, and then we'll talk about how to do a good count on those. So under the procedures tab, we'll go there first. We're going to be looking at the summary procedures report. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull, we'll change this to student. And then I'm just going to pull one of my current students. We'll add that. And I'm going to leave this date here. We could change it, but this date actually corresponds to right when she started phase 2. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. I'm going to hit OK. And then we're going to let that report spool. All right, we've got it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy from where the name is all the way down to just above the totals. I'm not going to grab those totals. I want to grab every bit of line except for the total. And we'll copy, I don't know if that took, yeah, we'll copy that. Now I'm going to minimize this screen. And what you see here is a report that I made with a couple of simple rules in it. And I've called it Procedure Report Limiter. And the reason that I've done that is because we want to know how many procedures the students have done, but we don't want them to have 100 of the same procedure. And so what I found was that I was kind of conflicted in how I wanted to approach this. One solution is to tell the students don't log more than 5 of any type of a procedure. And I think that's a fine solution, but I ran into the situation where I came in and students had already logged a lot of different procedures at a lot of different numbers. And so I didn't want to take away the credit for them actually having done it, and I didn't want to just delete it. And so I needed a way to get a count with 5 limited. The other thing is that if students are doing that many procedures or participating in that many procedures, then it's actually a fine thing to be able to show that they did participate in hundreds and hundreds of procedures. It'll help with credentialing potentially down the road. And as long as they're willing to log the numbers, I think it's valuable to have the data. The only time that we don't want those hundreds is if we're saying, how many procedures did you do, and was there a good variety? And so for that purpose, what we'll do is we'll take that information that I had just copied, and I'm going to click where it says paste here, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it. Now, what you've seen happen is under each one of these procedures, we'll just take ABGs here. There's performed, participated in, there's, if you were the surgeon, that should be 0 all the way down. If you supervised somebody in it, those really should be 0. Sometimes you'll see a 1 there. Sometimes it's just the way that the student put it in. But either way, what this Excel file is going to do is it's going to count these first 6 columns and add them up. And that's where you get this number here in column A. This is just an auto sum of the totals here, right? I'm sorry, in column B. That's this total. So we got the 11 and the 25, so 36. So 36 times this student either performed or participated in an intradermal injection. Now this is the part where I want to limit these. I don't want to limit the fact that the student put it in there, and I don't want to take away the credit, but for me just getting a count of did you get a good variety of procedures, what I've done is in this first column, I've set this to count as either 5 if this number is 5 or greater, or the actual number itself, right? So these numbers are all going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And then it just runs that all the way down. And I put the total at the top instead of at the bottom because everybody's report is going to be slightly different in length. This report happened to run down to 184 lines of data, but others will be closer to 200 or 170. It's just going to depend on student, but by putting the line at the top, the count at the top, as soon as you paste it in, you get the number that you're really looking for. She's at 573 procedures, and none of this 573 counts more than 5. So I'd say she's doing pretty well. And what I'll do is I'll send out the blank version of this, and so you can use it if you want to. Just as long as you're pulling the same report and pasting into the same place, it should work well.